Turks and Caicos, welcome back. This is season 2 of TCIG Connect. We've got more stories, more government updates, and even more interesting features coming up this season. And we're excited once again to be connecting with you. In this episode, the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force gives an update on ongoing crime prevention programs. Shakia Lewis, TCIG CARICOM Youth Ambassador, sits with us for a quick interview. Big stories with even bigger impact right here on TCIG Connect. Hello and welcome again to TCIG Connect. I'm your host, Nadija Mizek. First up on our program, we turn our focus to an issue that matters to every resident of the Turks and Caicos Islands. That is public safety and national security. In recent months, the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force has rolled out several successful crime prevention programs aimed at strengthening community trust, reducing crime, and enhancing the safety of our islands. These efforts have been at the forefront of the national conversation, bringing both reassurance and renewed confidence in our collective security. TCIG Connect spoke with Police Commissioner Fitz Bailey of the Royal Turks and Caicos Islands Police Force to discuss some of these initiatives and provide important updates on the broader public safety strategy for the country.
Crime is a very complex issue. And in terms of how we tackle crime and how we deal with crime, there are various issues that we have to contend with. Currently, we have had 28 murders, I think, since the beginning of this year. 25 compared to 28. So there is a reduction of 3. Up to about in the latter part of July, our murder figure was, in terms of percentage, we were in the about 31% less than the previous year. But that incident at Oka Lounge, and where that 4 persons were killed, and a few days before that we had a kidnapping and double murder, that actually impacted significantly on our murder figure. But crime generally within this space is reducing. There's a reduction in crime overall, and the major category of crime have been reduced. And I think it's a collaborative effort between the police and the various stakeholders, and I want to acknowledge Border Force as well as the regiment, is partnership working together. There are various strategies that we have used. When you look at TCI over the years and how the crime has evolved, we are accustomed to what I consider to be a soft policing approach, where we engage in more community-based, softer policing. But the reality is that the criminals are not getting softer. They are getting more aggressive, they are getting more brutal, and so we have to realign and readjust our approach. And instead of looking at this reactive type policing, there's a concept that is being used, and the harm policing concept, which is British really. So you have some people who are trained as armed officers, and they will respond to crisis, but those in many instances are after the fact. What you find now in TCI are criminals who are moving about with their weapons, high-powered weapon, moving from community to communities, committing atrocities, and then return to their hiding place. We have to adjust our policing strategy to deal with these issues. And I will say it to the public, that when we start to make those adjustments, there are going to be greater confrontation between the police and the criminal elements, because we're going to stop them whilst they are in pursuit of their criminal activity or whilst they are coming from their criminal activity. So we have to make adjustment in terms of our operational response. We have to make adjustment in terms of how we train our officers. We have to make adjustment in terms of how we deploy our officers. And these are some of the things. It's a work in progress. We are training our officers better. Our top priority is we are going to be in the face of the criminals. We're not going to let up. We're going to pursue them. We're going to be very active, proactive in our effort to reduce crime and violence. We are going to be engaged in proactive policing. We're going to be engaged in community policing. We are going to be engaged in a number of we're getting closer to the season of goodwill, if you want to call it. We are going to be out there also participating, and we are going to try to divert. We continue diversion strategy, and we are saying to young men and those who are engaged in criminal activities, cool it down. I would say to family members who are associated with these individuals, have a talk with them. We are not going to let up on our effort. We are not going to let up on our activity. We promise the citizens of Turks and Caicos Islands a safer society for the rest of the year. This is not just a knee-jerk response to an issue. It's going to be sustained. We are committed to it. And I'm appealing to the citizen. It's time for us to unite against the evil. It's the evil of violence that is likely to destroy our nation. We have a very fragile economy. And the day I landed in this country, I've been saying to the men and women, this is almost a buzzword. It's almost scratch record. I always say, every member of the police force is a contributor to national development. We can't de-link economic development from crime reduction. If you have an increase in crime, it's going to impact on our economy, especially in an environment where we depend heavily on tourism. So we are not going to allow a few misguided young men who have their own self-interest to destroy this nation. We are committed to it, and we are going to ensure that we bring back this country to the place it used to be. That's our commitment. And everything that we do, we are mindful that we are building a nation. And I want to appeal to every member of these islands. In all your activity, consider what contribution you are making to nation building. It's about that commitment, that loyalty to your nation, to TCI, to make TCI a better place, to make TCI a place where visitors want to come, where family want to live, and where you want to raise your children.
Up next on TCIG Connect, Government Explained. We answer your burning questions. More TCIG Connect after this short break.
Passports may be collected at the customer service centers in Grand Turk or Providence Islands. You may contact us at 338-2982 in Grand Turk or 338-4121 in Providence Islands. You may also email us at customerservice@gov.tc or citizenship&naturalization@gov.tc. We are encouraging you to collect your passport at your earliest convenience.
Welcome back to TCIG Connect. We asked you what you wanted to know about government, and the response was incredible, with more than 50 questions submitted. Up next, we're diving into some of the most pressing and popular ones, giving you clear answers straight from the source.
Very good question. The government is currently developing a policy, a residential land policy that would restrict foreign owners from pushing up the price of property. That would include undeveloped residential land plots, but also housing. You would remember in the last occasion when we had a sort of a housing or real estate crash, and the banks were left with a lot of, let me call it, toxic mortgages that people from outside came up and swap up a large number of properties very, very cheaply. We're putting legislation in now to look at restricting that kind of activity. And we're not completely going to restrict or eliminate the ability for foreign persons to buy property in the TCI, but under a certain threshold, they will not be allowed to purchase property. That threshold that is reserved for Turks and Caicos Islanders. So that is one of the things that we're looking at, trying to control the cost of accommodation, residential accommodation. That is connected to the first question. And housing, rent, is one of the biggest element of, let me call it a basket of goods that a consumer consumes. That is rent, his electricity, his water bill, his food bill, transportation costs, child care, and the like. So the housing is one of the biggest element of that cost. And we are and have been providing assistance through our various stamp duty, land purchase agreements, and all of those things. And we are focusing now on developing affordable homes so that that cost will come down even further. But also remember, over the last several years, we've provided a lot of relief in terms of the sort of daycare, after school, and then of course the other basket of goods, we've reduced the prices and hold those down. But there's a global cost of living rise everywhere. You hear it complain. If you watch American news, you see it, that they're having the same problems. And with this whole tariff issue that the U.S. presidency is trying to squeeze the rest of the world for, it is going to impact us because everything we consume here is imported. But we will be keeping our eyes on it to see how we can best modulate the market to assist certainly the people at the lower end of the market.
The Informal Settlements Unit is not in the business of making people homeless. The Informal Settlements Unit coordinates the efforts of other government agencies like planning, Crown Lands in particular, the police and so forth, and we're charged with bringing a halt to the spread of informal settlements. So the Crown Lands Unit has a policy, and their policy approach is to remove structures that are at or below belt beam level and are not occupied. So until that policy changes, Crown Lands are not displacing people and making people homeless. Now, there are a number of informal settlements on private lands, and that is a different matter. Private landowners, so long as they have not been complicit in the settlement of their lands, are entitled to abate the trespass that these informal settlements and structures constitute. And in those cases, private landowners might engage heavy equipment operators and pay for the clearance of their lands. In those cases, the Informal Settlements Unit would coordinate with the police, with planning, and other agencies to make sure that the land clearance exercise takes place in an orderly fashion and that there are no breaches of the peace.
To submit your questions, visit us on our socials at TCIG_info, on Instagram, and on Facebook at facebook.com/pressofficetcig. We love hearing from you. In our next segment, Shakia Lewis, the country's CARICOM Youth Ambassador and Dean of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program, joins us to talk about the significance of her recent appointment and shares a little bit of the personal journey that led her to this proud achievement. Take a look. Hi, I'm here with Shakia Lewis, who is the CARICOM Youth Ambassador and Dean of the program. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure and honor sitting with you today to hear a little bit about you. So we're going to get straight into it. We have quite a few things to talk about, and I'm sure you'd like to get to know this lovely young lady better. So Shakia, tell us about what it is or what it means, your role, and everything that encompasses being a CARICOM Youth Ambassador.
Okay. Well, I definitely can say that I have dual roles currently. Firstly, I am Turks and Caicos' CARICOM Youth Ambassador. And then for the region, I am the Dean of the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Program. So I guess in a nutshell, it is, the program is fundamentally rooted in joining people, young people together, making sure their voices are heard. When it comes on to civic engagement, sharing, just making sure young people have a seat at the table. So I'm that for the region.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about like what leads up to this. I'm sure you don't wake up one day and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the CARICOM Youth Ambassador. So tell us some of the things you did before becoming the Youth Ambassador that kind of shaped you or shifted you in this direction.
Okay, so funny story. I actually did wake up and I got an email and I was just like, they said Turks and Caicos is next and I'm letting you know you're gonna be Dean. That's how I got it. But obviously I had to go through a lot of training. I worked well with a lot of people that I met before. I'm currently a youth parliamentarian, so that kind of pulled out of me that leadership role, I would say. In terms of what I guess propelled me to actually taking on the role now, that's a different ball game. But Youth Ambassador, the program in itself, just by being a leader in the Turks and Caicos Islands, I guess that prepared me more for taking on the deanship role. And then those connections I built with Youth Parliament, Rotaract, those kind of shifted my, I guess, acceptance of, yeah, you're going to become dean, get the job done.
Nice. Explain to me, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people, I'm sure you have, your peers know you very, very well, but tell us a little bit about your personality. Tell us a little bit about your passions, things that you're interested in. Not only, as a leader, as a Caribbean voice, as a young person, what sort of things push you to get involved in things like Rotaract and Parliament?
I use this saying my mom always told me. She said, you're like salt. Like you're always in anything, everything. So that was me from, I want to say, as long as I can remember. I was always in anything. I was in peer educator. I was an athlete at one point, like Youth Parliament, Rotaract, all of those things. So that, I guess, willingness to actually be there. And I love to talk. So friends of mine would come to me and they would say, listen, you already have connection with these people. Like, I think you should do this. I think the country needs this, or the region might need this. So a lot of, like I said, the connections I built with other platforms, they really helped me to actually mold what the Youth Ambassador program was or is for me right now.
And, speaking on your tenure as CARICOM Youth Ambassador, I know that you had that title before you became the Dean of the program.
Yeah.
So over that space of the time up until now, what sort of things were you into? Like, what were you doing? Where were you going?
Okay.
The people want to know.
Well, I must say I've been traveling.
Nice.
Like, I really have. The Youth Ambassador program has opened up so many doors to visit so many places. I've been to Bermuda, Dominica, a lot of the Caribbean countries, Trinidad, Jamaica, and I guess that's been a big highlight for me. that I get to experience all these different countries, not only to witness like their culture and the things they do there, but to kind of see how I can use what I learn on these trips and better the Turks and Caicos. Like that has been my motto for the entire journey. How am I gonna make sure we're not only at the table, but we're actually eating from the table?
And before we move on to my next question, I want to put you on the spot. Top 3 places you've been so far.
With Youth Ambassador?
Yeah.
Top 3, Trinidad, definitely. Jamaica, love Jamaica. But I must say, Bermuda has been my number 1. Like, I love Bermuda.
What is it about the place?
The similarities to home, the flora, the fauna, the greenery, and that strong stance they have in Christian principles. They're big on Sundays that's for the Lord. Like that's huge for me, huge for my family, and that's something we strive to do here in the Turks and Caicos. So that connection really is something that I admire of that country.
That's beautiful. I mean, we need to have that in order to, steer us in the right directions, make right choices, and it's our moral compass. So I'm on board with that as well.
Definitely.
Speak to us. You say you repeated the theme of not only sitting at the table but eating at the table as well. Speak to us about some of the things that words of encouragement, some of the things that you can share with other young persons, not to be discouraged, so that they can aspire to being the ones to set the example, or aspiring to sit at the table and make change. Like, what would you say to young people of your generation and younger to encourage them in that wave?
I would definitely say be like salt. Like, the beaches here, the water, I find a lot of people say like the beaches in Turks and Caicos, the water is so salty. But as a young person, you have to be like salt. You have to be in everything, and remember, like, your one voice can make huge ripples, and those ripples turn into waves. So never be afraid to express how you're feeling, express where do you think your country should be going, because that in turn, definitely somebody is going to hear you. And by taking that stance that, listen, I'm not afraid to speak my mind, I'm not afraid to say that I see the Turks and Caicos this way, I see the region this way. Those are the things that are going to make sure that you eat at the table. And to even sum that up, educate yourself, because you don't want to be at the table and they're using dialects or different jargons that you don't understand. So make sure once you're in everything, make sure your mind is also along with
Interesting you raised that point, because my next question was going to be, what are some of the things that you would encourage them to get involved in? Like, what are some of the programs that currently exist that you would say are necessary to forming you or shaping you for these kind of roles?
Definitely, a lot of the times young people think that straight out of high school I should go away. But I think a major turning point for me was actually deciding that, listen, I want to go to the Turks and Caicos Community College.
Yeah.
Like, that really opened my eyes, and actually, I want to say prepared me to move away afterwards. So definitely go to college, go to TCICC. Like, that experience is going to be phenomenal. And don't just go to school and don't do any extracurriculars. Volunteer, join Rotaract, Kiwanis, Rotary. Those are organizations that definitely are going to take you so far. Youth Parliament, the National Youth Parliament has a steady hand right now in a lot of the discussions that are going on in Parliament. So use those different avenues. There's cadets, there's Interact, there's so many different avenues for young people to actually throw their hand in the ring and have their voices heard.
And, from those experiences that you've had, what are some of the most memorable takeaways that you can share? Like, what was, I don't know, like a eureka moment where you were shocked, or you were enlightened, or you were motivated in a new kind of way? Share some of those moments with us.
Definitely.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, you're good. Definitely, I want to say eureka moment for me was during my first, I guess, year or so in Rotaract. I found out that there were so many other young people who had the same goal as me. They wanted to give back. Because you find a lot of the time, you don't see young people saying that, oh, it's for free? Like, you pay me?
Yeah.
But you have young people who are passionate about giving back to the community. And the Eureka moment for me definitely was when I joined the Rotaract Club of Grand Turk, and I saw that there were 10, 13, 14 other young people around my age who were excited about giving back, excited about beach cleanups, excited about giving back to schools, homework clubs. So that definitely was a Eureka moment. Another one would be in youth parliament, seeing that young people are interested in politics. They are interested in laws and decisions that are being made for us by our ministers. Like, youth parliament has opened my eyes to so many things. So many, like, I'm excited when the budget debate comes on, because I want to sit down and I want to hear.
You want to be a part of the discussions. Yeah.
So those are Eureka moments. Like, there are young people in the Turks and Caicos who all have a common goal.
So a lot of people know you through your professional role or your academic role as CARICOM Youth Ambassador. But I don't know how many friends you have, and I don't know how big your circles are. So for those of us who don't know you on a more one-to-one personal level, tell us a little bit about yourself. What are you interested in? What does Shakia do in her downtime? What do you like to watch? What do you like to...
Is there a downtime? That's
I mean, you have a quite busy schedule, I know, but I know you get some hours in.
I do. Well, day to day, I am an educator to some wonderful little people. But other than that, I guess something a lot of people won't know is just growing. I'm an entrepreneur. I recently started my own small business. It's called Is Island Treats. So it encompasses graphic design. I do a lot of flyers. I do a lot of promotion work. I also do gift boxes for any occasion. A big thing now is everybody is onto the stuffed Stanley Cups. So I do that too. So in my downtime, I want to say I dabble in some creations and unique kind of tasks and stuff.
So you're creative at heart.
Yeah, I definitely am.
People see the more leadership, strict, but they don't always get to see your creativity. That's beautiful.
I stayed a teacher because I can change the look of my classroom every term. So a lot of people don't get to see that except my students, but that's one of the things a lot of people don't get to see, and they don't really know that I do dabble in so many things, like graphic design, all of my gift creations, like those type of stuff.
Well, now you know, guys, she's a creative as well as an impactful leader in the community in Turks and Caicos. Last question. If you could share any words of advice to youth nowadays, any words of encouragement, any little tidbits of knowledge, what would you share?
That's a very big question. I would definitely have to say, remember where you came from.
That's a good one.
Because that's gonna take you places. The foundation that you grew up on, the traditions, the culture that you grew up on, that's unique. Remember that wherever you go in the world. If somebody asks you where's the Turks and Caicos Islands, don't just say under the Bahamas. Let them know we're there.
We have our own identity.
Yes, like that. That's what I want to say. Remember where you came from. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Shakia, for joining us. Thank you for agreeing to sit down and talk with us. It's a pleasure to meet you and get to know you a little bit more. I've done my research, but it's good to meet you on a personal level.
Definitely.
Thank you, guys. Until next time. That's all for today's government news update. Join us here on the TCIG Communications Directorate YouTube page every other Friday at 6 p.m. for the latest from government, and visit us on Facebook at facebook.com/pressofficetcig for more updates on these stories and more. Thanks for watching. I'm Nadija Mizik. Until next time.